The Democrats seem to have a serious issue facing up to the truth. They always have. The truth, Democrats, they can never find their way together, can they? The polls tell the story, though, tells the real truth, that Americans are sick and tired of their garbage and the fact that they offer zero solutions and can only offer their hatred, their President Trump derangement syndrome. When asked about his party's consistently tanking ratings, Timu Obama, otherwise known as Hakeem Jeffries, doesn't really have much to say.
But actually, the Democrats in recent polls are actually faring worse than the Republicans. Take a look at a Quinnipiac poll out just this week. Shows that Democrats have their lowest approval rating in the poll's 15-year history. Only 18% give Democrats a high approval rating in the handling of the economy. Only 18%, 73% disapproval. What are you doing wrong?
Well, clearly that's an outlier poll. Listen, the most significant indicator of public sentiment is, are you winning elections or are you losing elections?
So when you're polling at 18% approval and 73% disapproval, it's an outlier poll, and don't mind the polls. When it's the opposite, polls are God. There's certain Democrats who can do no wrong when it comes to the Democrat minions. Barack Obama is basically God as far as they're concerned. And somehow Bill Clinton is still impervious to the criticism he deserves and has deserved in his entire career. Tim Kaine, who was Hillary's running mate in 2016, seems to be going by the notes they gave him when asked about those new Epstein files and Clinton.
Let me ask you about what we have seen released in the Epstein files so far. Former President Bill Clinton is featured prominently in the first batch, as I was just discussing. Now, to be very clear, NBC News does not know the full context behind these images, and simply being in the Epstein files doesn't imply any criminal wrongdoing. But does Clinton owe the public an explanation about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You know, I actually haven't tracked what President Clinton has said, and if there are unanswered questions, you know, he should address them, and I suspect he will. But let's just make sure that we meet the promise that President Trump made as a candidate that all these files will be released. Let's put all the facts and all the material out on the table.
Let me get it straight, Timmy Kaine, Senator. There's pictures of Bill Clinton in hot tubs with blacked out women's faces in the hot tubs, too. He doesn't have any clothes on, but it's Trump's fault. Got it. Don't worry, Jamie Raskin clearly got the defend Bill Clinton memo also.
One of the things we did see were a number of pictures of former President Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein, with Ghislaine Maxwell in a jacuzzi, swimming in a pool. How do you explain that connection, and are you comfortable with it?
I mean, I have no idea. This is why we want to get to the bottom of it and get all of the facts out to, to the public. I mean, that's what this is about. And, look, there are clearly lots of people that are in photographs with Jeffrey Epstein. And in addition to being a child sex predator and an international child sex abuse trafficker, he was very much of a socialite.
Yeah. And what about Clinton? Answer the question, Jamie. Tampon Timmy Walz is starting to seem a bit panicked now that the cat is out of the corruption bag and that he's squarely in the crosshairs.
Look, who's ever in charge, and I said, unlike the president, I'm the governor now. Whether these programs happened before we got here or afterwards, it doesn't matter. We're here now. We're the ones fixing it. You have my guarantee on this is that I certainly will have this thing fixed, and you see that we're on the front end of it. That's how this works.
Yeah, well, see, Tampon Timmy, sorry. We do know how things work, but clearly you don't, or at least you didn't when you built a bad system, ignored numerous warnings, and then lied to taxpayers about it by attempting to brush it under the carpet. Turns out that corruption was likely a whole lot bigger and deeper than we originally thought it was. Looks like Timmy's got some splaining to do.
That fraud number that has been put out there by the U.S. attorney, and of course, it's massive. It got all of our attention this week, talking, potentially $9 billion or more. But the governor has said he believes that's unfounded. What do you say to that? Because it's still a could be.
It's a could be, and I think we're going to find out. The employees at DHS that are doing all the whistleblowing, they say that number is probably low. That it's $9 billion within just these 14 programs. And then there's all sorts of other programs where there's been fraud.
Tim, the buck stops here with the CEO of the state. That would be you, Tampon Timmy. And by the way, he was warned. He was told by watchdog groups to say that, take a look at these people. They're doing some illegal crap. And he didn't. Well, this one is quite an interesting one, isn't it? Washington, D.C. police chief, well, now former police chief, got bounced after she was caught manipulating her city's crime stats. By the way, a common occurrence in blue cities, of course. And, well, let's just say that Pamela Smith left with a bang.
Never would I compromise my integrity. Never would I compromise 28 years in law enforcement for a few folk who couldn't stand to be held accountable. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again. So I'm going to the Bible when I say this to my haters. F you. The same folks who said in that report that they changed their numbers, and I did not. The report is very clear. I did not direct anyone. You should investigate those folks.
I'm pretty sure, loser, FU is not anywhere in the Bible. In fact, I'm positive. And good luck. Good luck getting a job from here forward. Things continue to look very, very bad for the Black Lives Matter movement. We've heard so many stories of its founders and leaders having committed fraud. The Department of Justice is now investigating the entire movement for fraud throughout. Earlier this month, another one of its leaders, Tashella Dickerson, who was executive director in Oklahoma City, was indicted on embezzlement and wire fraud charges. And now a man who referred to police as, quote, violent and racist turns out to be far from the righteous role model he made himself out to be.
And we have some breaking news just into the WBTM 13 newsroom. A co-founder of Black Lives Matter Birmingham has been arrested.
According to jail records, Eric Hall was arrested late last night and charged with domestic assault. The charge is listed as a misdemeanor. Records show he remains behind bars at the Birmingham City Jail. We're working to learn more about what led up to that arrest, and we'll share that with you on air and online.
Such fine, upstanding members of the community, these Black Lives Matter movement folks, huh? Finally, of course, the ladies of The View have an issue with the president giving our troops a nice little Christmas bonus. There's just nothing that the ladies of the Trump Derangement Syndrome Club, The View, don't take advantage of to slander our president and put a big bah humbug on so much Christmas spirit.
The one thing I'll give him credit on is this bonuses to troops. He's giving them basically $1,700.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see
where
the money coming from.
He says tariff revenue. That's what I'm most intrigued to see if that's actually the case. Listen, coming off of the government shutdown,
I got to check that with Professor ChatGPT because I don't believe that.
Well, in the delay that they all had of not, they got back pay, but I mean, people need help, but all Americans need help right now.
Yeah.
And just a handout isn't the answer. Smart policies are the answer.
Well, what he's doing is he's thinking, if I make sure that the soldiers have what they need, they'll back me in what I want. See?
Didn't Biden hand out $1,400 checks left and right when he was trying to get promised to do it and then did it when he was first elected? I mean, it's what politicians do, folks. It's just what they do, both sides of the aisle. Whoopee. All right, folks, everyone thinks they know the story of the Wolf of Wall Street, but here's the real story. The part Hollywood didn't dramatize is even crazier. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding. People aren't stuck, they're comfortable. Comfortable explaining, comfortable delaying, comfortable lowering the bar, and then acting shocked when life steps over the bar, passes over them for someone else, likely someone who's already conquered their edge. They say they want more, but they live accepting less. That's the contradiction that eats men alive. Well, that wasn't exactly what we were looking for, but I did have the Wolf of Wall Street on a couple of weeks ago. I just want to let you know the Edge platform is exploding. We want you part of it. We want you to be part. It's men's motivation. So it's get up every single day, make the best of today. Don't listen to them. Hold the door open for a woman if you want to. Woke is dead. Men are back. Watch The Edge. YouTube.com/@EricBollingTheEdge. YouTube.com/@EricBollingTheEdge. Or just hit your camera to that QR code. Subscribe. I really, really, really appreciate your subscription. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to me. Never, ever, ever will I charge you or ask you for money. Not going to happen. That show isn't about politics or money. It's about becoming better. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.